Thank you, Madam President. Today we are here to debate and discuss a deal and an agreement that has been made between Governor Malloy, his administration, and government union leaders in the state of Connecticut. In Connecticut, we have contract law when it comes to deciding on wages, benefits, and salaries of our state employees. And what that means is only the governor and only the unions can come together and make an agreement. And until recently, we have not been able to vote as a body in the Senate on these agreements. Thankfully, now that we have a power-sharing arrangement in the Senate, we're able to debate and discuss these arrangements. Now, currently, our state is facing a drastic multi-billion-dollar deficit. Our capital city, Hartford, is staring bankruptcy in the face, and many of our municipalities, through poor planning, are facing insolvency. Aetna and GE, some of our largest employers, have left or are leaving the state. Used to be that General Electric would make things in Connecticut and people complained about the taxes in Massachusetts. Now General Electric is making things in Massachusetts and people are complaining about the taxes in Connecticut. And under this deal, taxes are going to skyrocket. This deal between Governor Malloy and union leaders will fix 1/3 of our state costs for over 10 years. It locks in retirement benefits for over 10 years. It requires no layoffs for over 4 years. It locks health benefits in for another decade. It locks pay increases and bonuses in for another decade. It offers tuition reimbursement. Even in some cases, state union employees get cars that they can drive on the taxpayer's dime. Now, I would like to ask Connecticut citizens that work in the private sector, do you have and expect a pension? Do you have almost the entirety of your health care costs covered? Do you have a guaranteed employment, bonuses, and even guaranteed salary increases? 90% of American workers do not, and most Connecticut workers do not. The state employee leaders are leading their union workers in the wrong direction. This deal is going to break the engine that feeds them. It is going to break our government. This deal is a devastation waiting to happen. We will be faced with a $3.5 billion deficit after this deal. The mathematics, the economics behind this do not make sense. There will have to be another massive tax increase, possibly one larger than we've seen over the last two, which have been the largest in our state's history. We have been hemorrhaging jobs. We have been hemorrhaging wealth, constantly flowing out of the state because of poor management and decisions like these. Millennials, my generation, are choosing to live elsewhere, and we will see that occur more often as taxes like these will push jobs out, push opportunities out for millennials, young people to come to the state and innovate, raise their families here. Not to mention what this will do for nonprofits. The local YMCA, the folks that work for those organizations, they don't have even close to the kind of benefits that the union leadership is negotiating for in this agreement. In fact, they are just struggling to make it. They're struggling to survive. Survival is what Connecticut private citizens in the private workforce are fighting for right now. This deal will increase taxes 10, 15, 20% in the next decade, and it prohibits the state from making structural changes that it needs to solve for drastic emergencies. Now, what can we do? What should we be doing as a body? We should be taking matters into our own hands. We can do that. We can do that by making Connecticut wage, labor, health, pension agreements statute law, which is what Rhode Island did. Governor Raimondo had courage, which is what we need today. We need courage from people on both sides of the aisle. Courage. That's what we need, desperately. Desperately, we need courage. Just like she had. Governor Raimondo was able to reform their pension plan. She was able to make structural changes, and as a result, Rhode Island is growing jobs. Young people are moving to Rhode Island. Businesses are moving to the state. They have their future under control. They have taken matters into their own hands. Our legislature should be doing just that. Make Connecticut labor law statute law. We can vote on that today so that we can start making changes to our pension plan so that our kids in schools can afford pencils in the future. Because at this rate, we can't afford anything for our schools, for our roads, for our bridges. We need a defined contribution plan, a 401k plan, just like everyone else has. We need to reduce government costs, invest more tax dollars directly into services. Right now, more and more of every tax dollar is not being spent on services that go back to the taxpayer, and that is wrong. We should be looking to sell state-owned assets. Now, I know that later tonight, DEEP will be presenting a plan on an asset in Waterford so that the state can get into the hotel business. A hotel developer who developed a hotel in Rhode Island and invested in the community, and now the town is getting tax dollars from that investment, and there's economic development in Rhode Island right across the border, wanted to invest in a property in Connecticut. And tonight, and was denied by the state because the state wants to start investing in lodging. Where are we going with this? We should be selling state assets. We should be encouraging innovation and entrepreneurship. We should be focusing on business development. Talk about what Rhode Island has done. Look at what Florida has done. Florida has reduced taxes, they've reduced regulations, and they've seen 1 million new jobs. It took courage. It was hard. But that's the direction that Connecticut has to go in. We can easily sit down in a room together, knock down these caucus walls, come up with a budget, do a page turn on a document, and get a budget done without making drastic decisions like this that can put our state in harm's way for decades to come. My fear is that if a deal like this passes, the state is going to need nothing shy of a miracle to turn it around. We can stop this now. We can vote this deal down. I know that many of you believe this is the wrong decision for the state. We can come together, we can work on a budget, do our jobs, roll up our sleeves, let's get a budget done. Let's take control of our own destiny. To my colleagues, I ask you to show some courage. Let's roll up our sleeves. Let's get the hard work done. Let's set this state on the right path. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Senator Schlossberg.